All right. Good to see everybody. Thanks for tuning in. All right. Here we go.
Okay. Yeah.
Ready?
Yep. 3, 2, and 1.
Hey, folks. Welcome back to your Frederick Real Estate Update. I am Darren Ahern with RE/MAX Results. This is your weekly dose of real estate and all things mortgage that we're dealing with. And I have my awesome friend and colleague and wingman and man with the money from Presidential Bank Mortgage over there, Mr.
Terry Kernan.
How we doing?
I'm doing good, thanks.
Did you say goodbye to the summer yet?
No.
We are not saying goodbye yet, are we?
Kicking and screaming.
That's right. We got a little bit more nice weather, even though it feels cooler. It's been nice. I love September, October, and leaves start changing all that, but it went fast. But we still got some good stuff planned, and I hope everybody is doing well. This is the time of the year, Terry, that all the kids are now pretty much back in school for the most part. And this is when we get that little seasonal pause button where some of the buyers that have been active, and if they haven't found what they want yet, they're hitting the pause button. But I promise you, these guys come out in full force here, probably in about 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. And then they'll say, you know what? If we can, we're going to try to get in by the holidays. We're going to find our dream home or something we need that's bigger or whatever, with whatever life changes that's going on. And so we see that seasonally. And as we get into the numbers, because of it, we can see a little bit of a change here. Not too much, but active homes, Terry, 620. Last week, it was 631. So we're down just a tiny bit. Why do you think that is?
I think not as many people are selling, just like not as many people are buying.
Yeah, it's
so
good.
There's a little bit of less demand or less desire to sell.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's the old, we're getting our kids back into school, and, you know, we're settling in. We're not going to sell. We're going to, you know, hold off or do whatever. But
yeah,
it's kind of the third week of August that we see every year.
Seasonal thing. And on top of it, the chatterbox of all the interest rates may be going to start coming down a little more. And I think sometimes that can sideline a couple buyers as well and things like that. But the interesting part of that is coming soon. How many?
Looks like we got 88, which is a pretty good number.
92.
Oh, 92.
Nope, we come up with
88 was last
We were
week.
88 on 92. We've come up 4 homes are getting ready to sell more. And so there you go. It's like it's not really relatively changing much at all in that regard, right?
Mm-hmm, but that's still a pretty strong number for coming soon.
It is, because we have not been over 100 in not consistently whatsoever. And so this will be very interesting to keep an eye on, right? And as I've said before, Terry, the thing that we're seeing these buyers, and I just got another one under contract, is that it's either selling really quick. It's like, man, these sellers either get it, they got the condition right, the price is aggressive, and they're spot on for the market, or a little aggressive compared to the data because they're not paying attention to Zillows and all the other fake news and things like that could throw them off, that are skewed datas and points and things like that just don't take a lot of factors into consideration in real time. And because of it, if they're smart, a lot of sellers, man, they're still getting a little bit potential multiple offers or under contract first week or two, but you get past about 30 days and you're dead. You're in big trouble. All resales, 483 of those, average median time, 34 days, 39 average time on the market. So that's come down just a tiny bit from like 43. Median price, 515, average 580. Resale, single family homes, 282 of those, and a 60. This is the big one. 42 median, 63 average days on the market for single family homes that are resale. Woo, that's a big jump. Yeah, huge. We were in the 50s for a long time. We were in the low to mid 50s. Now we've just gone to 63. So townhouses, condos, man, boom, they sell a lot faster because they're more affordable in general. Single family homes, we're finding, are becoming on the market longer.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been preaching this to the sellers, saying, hey, look, you got a single family home. It's taking a little bit longer than we did just even 2-3 weeks ago. Median price, 630, average 686. Resale townhouse type condos, 201, 34 average. Median days is 50, 418 median price, 432 average. New construction, boom, 140.
That's a big number.
Yeah, remember we were at 105, 110.
Mm-hmm.
Where's all this new construction coming from?
Well, I do know that the builders have slowed down a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So this could be evidence that the builders have slowed down in the inventory that they were preparing, and the specs that they were building aren't getting sold in time.
Yep.
So I do know that, in talking to a lot of the builders, that things have slowed down in the building community. So that's probably the reason that we have such a big number there.
Yeah. One of the things somebody asked me recently, Terry, what's the average days on the market for brand new builds? Man, they put them up there. They put them as spec homes, but when that particular place sells, it's already been up for sale. It's already been spec'd out and like put into the public's eyes, and they don't take it down. Like they just do specific properties, but as a whole, so it's all skewed. There's no way. There's some like Bloomfields. I mean, those guys over there, they put those puppy dogs out for sale, and within a week, they're pretty much all selling these brand new builds because who else is building a 55 plus community in Frederick, right? But you get to all these other communities, it's not like that. It's just not like that.
No, it's not. It's been a huge slowdown, especially in the upper end, the single family homes, the upper end of the new construction, especially once you get over $1 million.
Yeah.
The $1 million market has slowed down tremendously. So it's a little worrisome. We're not hitting the panic button. We're not saying, things are crashing or anything, but it's something to keep our eye on and kind of see what's happening going forward. Because if it affects the builders today, it's going to affect the resales tomorrow.
That's it. Okay. Perfect. That's it. What Terry just said. And that's the thing, 83 single family homes with an average of 811 sale price. If you remember, we were up at about 819. So we have seen brand new builds. Two things have happened significantly in the last, say, 6 months to a year. Many more incentives, more closing help, more options, money towards options and free finished basements or whatever. It is incentivizing sites or also still maybe buying down the rate. Outside of that, the last resort new construction builders ever want to do is do what, Terry? Lower the
price.
We don't want to lower the price. We want to hold that price at all costs. We have now started to see some of these new builds start to lower their base price a little bit on top of all the goodies they're offering. So that is very significant. And as I listen to a lot of podcasts all week long, that's what I keep hearing around the whole country, everywhere, is that new construction is really starting to take shape as far as sitting on the market, not getting them sold as much and slowing down in that regard. So the townhouse brand new ones, 57 or condos, and their average is 529, but that actually is up just a tiny, tiny bit. We've been averaging like 520, 525. We're at 529. Under contracts, 419, 339 resales, and an average time 38 days in the market with a median price of 475 and an average of 548. Under contract, new construction, 80 of them. So there you go. We got 80 homes under construction that are brand new. 48 are single family homes with an average of almost $1 million, 875 median, $1 million price. So there's a lot of spec and there's a lot of homes that are, the higher end, but there's not many of them. Like anything $1 million and above, Terry, you may have out of those 80, you may have 5 or 10 of them. That's it. And they're really big homes. They're on land. They got 5-acre lots and on and on and on and on. These are not primarily in a brand new build community. Now we may see some at 900,000, but to be $1 million in a brand new community, you got to be down in Montgomery County for that. No problem. And some of the townhouses down there I've seen are starting to get to 800 in brand new communities and such like that. So, but here, Frederick County, 32 townhouses at a 492 price, sold in the last 30 days, 313, 284 resales at 28 days average time on market, and a 532 average sale price, 165 single family homes at 30 days. 621, and then the townhouses 119 at 26 days at 410, and all new construction 29 have sold in the last 30 days. So one a day. 14 were single family homes at a 785 price, and 15 townhouses at 489, which I was surprised. That's a little under the average that we had seen in a little while. So those are down just a tiny bit, and that could be some of the adjustments maybe. And sold their list price ratio, our favorite, 99.1. It's up a little bit, but that's from, here's the thing though, that's the resales from the price that the seller had already adjusted. So 38 to 40% of home sellers that have been on the market 30 days or more have made a price correction. Once they've made that, the average of that is 4.2%. Okay. So already it's 1%. So we're really starting to see that really buyers are paying on an average of 1% less than after what the sellers have already adjusted their price down. So when you add those two together, really it's about 4.5 to 5.3% at the end of the day that sellers have kind of come down at the end of the day. So that's pretty, but it's still strong in the sense that once you make one small tweak adjustment, most of the time you're going to get an offer at that point. So most sellers are not exaggerating, overpricing their home by like 10%. Now I've seen it, Terry, but it's very rare in general. So, all right. So there's your latest on that. Let's get into mortgage stuff. Any comments?
No. I think the numbers are going to pretty much kind of stay. I think the numbers we got to keep an eye on is that sold to list ratio at 99.1. The other number that I always look at is what is sold in the last 30 days, and that was 313.
Yep.
If that number starts going below 300, then I think that shows a true slowdown in the market.
Yeah.
But, in the fall, it's probably going to hover around the 300 mark.
Yep. That's what I think too. I think we'll maybe go under a little bit, 290, 280, but I'll be surprised if we get under 280. Wow. We'll see inventory go up a little bit, obviously. And, yeah. And then that's the thing, go up just a little bit, but not more than you think, because you're going to have a number and a percent, as we talked about before, a percentage of sellers that don't put their house back on the market right away. Almost half the sellers take it off and they say, we'll just wait till the spring market. 50% do that. 50% are like, no, we don't have a choice. We're selling, even if we get a different agent, which what are they going to do sometimes differently than what others have done? The biggest factor is not that. And that's the thing people think, Terry. But what happens is if you change your condition, that's a plus. And if you change your price, that's a huger plus. But the other factor that's the quiet one most people don't think about as a seller is when you re-put your house back in the market, your days on market doesn't start over from zero. But what does shift is the buyers that were not seeing your house and looking before when it was active. And the time you take it off the market, even if it's just 1 or 2 weeks, you have a new set of buyers that are now entering in the market looking that weren't looking before. That, I believe, is a big X factor that no one pays attention to, because that's a big deal, man. It's like the buyers that are in the market today is a crapshoot. We don't know how many want what you have. You may have 5 buyers want what you have, and a week later you may have 20. And a week later you may have 1. That's the thing no one can predict, and if anyone thinks they can, they're wrong. But the best thing to do is always condition and price. You get those changed, even sometimes, Terry, it sounds crazy, but even more so changing to a new agent. We do not dictate the market. We don't make buyers come out of a rabbit hat and reappear to give you what you want as a seller. It's not how this works. So, all right, I'm off my rant. That's my little rant. That's good stuff, though. Jot that down. How's that?
Very good stuff.
All right. Mortgage. What's happening?
So
where are rates first? Where are rates?
Rates are kind of steady. Okay.
Okay.
So here's what happened last week, and we talked a little bit about it, is there's some drama at the Federal Reserve. Fed Governor Lisa Cook was being pressured by Bill Pulte to resign.
Oh.
Bill Pulte, as I talked about, he's the head of the Federal Housing Finance Agency, and she is accused of loan fraud. So what's happened in the last couple of days is President Trump came out and basically said that he's fired her, and she came back and said, well, you can't do that. That's not allowed. I'm going to finish out my term to the best I can. So that drama is going to continue, and I think what we're going to see is more and more pressure for her to step down. If the loan fraud charges are what they're talking about, and that is basically using a condo in Michigan, I talked about this last week, as your primary residence when it's not really your primary residence, and to do that to get a lower rate. That is loan fraud. Is it so that's going to unfold. What they're looking for is, if she does get fired or resign, replacing her with somebody that is more cut rate friendly. So that brings us to the cuts. Chairman Powell came out and he basically said that, things are trending in the right direction. So the feel is that we are going to cut rates in September. Now let's talk about last year. There were 3 cuts in September and end of October and December. 3 cuts last year to end the year, but our rates actually went up last year.
Yep.
After the rate cuts.
That's true.
So just because we're going to get a rate cut here in September does not mean that our rates are going to go down. And like I've said before, if they cut rates by 0.5%, I think we're going to see rates go up, because what they're doing is they're cutting the prime lending rate.
Right.
Has nothing to do with our mortgage rates, as I've said in the past, but it does establish a direction. Okay.
Yep.
And what we keep our eye on the most is the 10-year Treasury, right now hovering in the 4.2 range. And we need that to get under 4%. Okay. And once we see that get under 4%, I think we'll see momentum to lower our rates. So it's great that the Fed's going to cut in September. We've already figured that out. We just don't know how much. But we could see at least one more rate cut. And I'm hoping that the feel is that 2026, by 2026, rates will be down, not under 6%, but approaching 6%.
Yeah.
So those are some things that are very important, but continue to watch the drama that's going on with the Federal Reserve, because the pressure is to cut rates.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And it helps, like we talked about, personal loans, car loans, credit cards, all these other factors. But mortgages is out here. It's the thumb on your thing, the thumb on your hand that says, hey, it's going to take time. This is the question people have. I'm sure, Terry, you ready? They cut rates. Rates for mortgages go up just a tiny baby bit, and everybody panics and goes, oh my gosh, what the heck happened? How long does it take for that Treasury and mortgage rates to follow suit and lax down a little bit? 2 months, 3 months?
It's usually determined in weeks, but probably in the 3-week range. Once they cut rates, things will settle down, and we'll get more data to help support the rate cut. And the data that comes in is what basically the momentum continues. So if unemployment continues to go up, that means that we're actually going to see our rates go down. Okay. So that's a number that we definitely want to take a look at. The other number we definitely want to take a look at is inflation. Okay. That number we saw went up in July. Is it going to go down in August? Probably not. We might see it go up a little bit. So the big thing is the job market that I think we have to keep an eye on.
Right.
Second big thing is inflation that we have to keep an eye on. But let's talk about one thing that came out this week, and that is consumer confidence. It was at 98.7, down to 97.4.
Okay.
That's the weakest it's been in 4.5 years.
Wow.
Remember, I've said on the show a million times, confidence breeds confidence.
Yep.
Fear breeds fear. Anger breeds anger. Enthusiasm breeds enthusiasm. So when the consumer confidence is down, then that means that we could see a little bit of pressure on rates to come down. If consumer confidence is down, people are more likely to not look to go out and buy a new single-family home.
There you go.
Does that make
perfect? That's it right
sense?
there. So all these factors thrown into the hopper gets down to the bottom of the funnel. And let's say, Terry, you have a buyer. They're under contract. They're settling on a home in 3 weeks from now, and they haven't locked in their rate yet. And now that we know there's a chance that they may cut rates coming up soon, but it takes 3 weeks to a month maybe to follow suit and lax down and go lower. And then all of a sudden they've already settled. So they have to lock in at some point. Let's say it's in 4 or 5 weeks that they settle. Is it a gamble? Like, what does a buyer do? Do they lock in now with the advice of, hey, they're going to cut rates. Mortgage may go up just a tiny, tiny bit. If you lock in now, you won't pay more. But if you have the long game and you're not settling for 5 weeks, there's a chance rates may trickle and lax back down to be lower than they are right now. Is that true, or how would you advise a buyer?
So advising a buyer is you got to be careful.
Yeah, that's
Boy,
what,
you got to.
Hey, I didn't mean to put deer in headlights on you, but I am.
No.
Like, because this is
question.
real stuff. Buyers, think about this.
So if you're a buyer and you say, Terry, I know they're going to cut rates in September.
Yep.
I follow the market. I know what's going on. What you also want to know and what you want to believe is that the market, and when I talk about the market, I'm talking about the bond market.
Yep.
The bond market is already baked in or they're currently baking into the recipe that rates are going to get cut. So when rates get cut in 3 weeks, that's already been figured in to the equation today.
Right.
Okay.
There we go.
As soon as it comes in. So the chance of rates going down much between now and when the rate cuts isn't that big. What I tell people is if you don't lock in, it's a gamble. And usually rates will go up a lot faster than they come down.
There you go.
Okay. So if there's a vast improvement in the bond market, and let's say it warrants a 0.5% cut or a 0.25% cut in the rate, well, you're not going to get that whole 0.25% cut because the market's going to hold back some of that to basically make sure that it's trending in that direction. But when the market goes up and the 10-year bond goes from 4.2 to 4.5 in one day, you're going to see rates go up faster, a heck of a lot faster than if they went from 4.2 to 3.9 in the same day.
Right. So it's a gamble.
So it's a gamble. And going back, if somebody says, Terry, what do? I say, it's totally up to you. I will tell you that, when you were locked, you were protected. If rates come down drastically, you do have an ability to renegotiate that rate to where you kind of meet somewhere in the middle. But if you don't lock in, that rate is not protected,
right? And
you're going to get it. And I've had, over my 40 years, I've had many, many situations where people chose to float and the market turns, and the market goes up, and I get a phone call or an email or a text and it says, hey, just want to make sure you locked me in. And it's like, well, no, you
didn't tell me to.
You specifically signed something saying that you were floating.
Yeah.
And because they know that they gambled and the gamble didn't pay off, so they're looking to place blame or somebody else to take the hit for them. So,
right.
So it really is all on you. If your loan officer locks you in,
go to bed, sleep.
Yeah.
You're okay.
You're good.
You're going to be okay.
As long as you're comfortable with the payment.
That's it. That's the end result. If you're comfortable with payment. But even if it changes down a little bit, it's not like your mortgage is like, oh my goodness, it went down $150 a month. No, it may go down what, Terry? $5, $10 a month?
No, it's going to be more than that. It's
20?
You can probably start in the $20 to $30 range.
All right. Well, you missed out on a Starbucks coffee this week. Big deal, right?
Yeah.
Just marry the house, darn it, and date the rate, and we'll do that later. That's bad advice that like everybody's getting in trouble about. So I really never said that too much, I do believe in marrying the house. You got to find a house to live in and love on as long as you can afford it. That's the most important thing. The money side of it and all those factors, they work themselves out over time, right, Terry? They really do. Mm-hmm. Over time, it's a cycle thing, and it will be okay. You have a good chance of winning. Mortgage, values typically go up 90%, 80% of the time historically or more. You'll be okay. And there's always a chance. And most people, Terry, they do refinance at least one time, I believe, in their home ownership because we go through those cycles and then it comes down enough to where they go, hey, I can save enough money. This makes sense. So, I know in my past of owning a house, I think I refinanced like twice and it worked out to be great and no problem. So, and that was, by the way, when interest rates went from 8% to 7% and we got really excited.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Best practices to deal with a home that needs lots of love. Who doesn't want a lot of love? Everybody wants lots of love. Every house, Terry, wants love from their seller or the new buyer. But many times, first-time home buyers want the cheapest home with the best condition, a dream come true. It's turnkey. What does that cause? 10,000 other buyers want the same thing as you, and it causes a bidding war.
Yes.
So that's the dream.
It causes enthusiasm. It breeds enthusiasm.
Does.
Right?
Absolutely. By the way, there was a house somewhere in the country that somebody put on the MLS for $1.
Really?
Yeah, it was like a $500,000 home. The seller wanted their agent to put the house on the MLS for $1. It was on. It made number one. It made national news. It made national news.
Okay,
not bad advertising.
I didn't see it. No.
And do you think there was a bidding war?
I think there was.
There was almost fatalities. There was almost a fatality over it. So while we wouldn't recommend that, that was a strategy someone did, and it definitely The market dictated the price, no doubt. And it did. It got baited way, 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 way up, and it became a FOMO situation, and it was pretty wild.
Wow.
Yeah. So this just happened this last summer. I thought it was pretty funny. If I was
so just to be very clear, very clear, somebody put their house on the market for $1.
They did $1,
and it sold for probably close to what it was worth, $500,000.
Yep.
So that list to sold ratio will probably go from 99.1 to like 108 next week.
Yeah. 200, 300%, whatever, crazy numbers that don't exist.
Just ruined our number that we really take a look at.
Yeah, that one we're going to get out of the mix. That skews the data. But many homes today suffer from what we would call deferred maintenance because it costs so much more than just 5 years ago to fix things. Maybe, Terry, upwards of 30% I've read. And with this state of affordability, many sellers, they're not doing much to prep their home for sale because they either don't have the time to do the work or the money. A lot of it's they don't have the money. They're like, I don't have the money to fix up my house. Or they just think, what? The market is still 2021, like we're partying like 1999 with Prince. And buyers will be lined up for a bidding war only to find out things have drastically changed. And you're lucky to get a full price offer, let alone selling it as is or making no repairs. That's the truth. Mm-hmm. That's what we're dealing with right now. So sellers, listen to that. Buyers just don't have the money to fix things up like they did before. And many buyers are using all their funds as down payment and closing costs. Would you agree? Do you see that?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. They're like, well, we don't have the money to put a roof on or fix this or that. So when it comes to condition, we talked about, so the toughest ones, Terry, are always foreclosures and short sales. Unless a foreclosure, the bank sometimes does do paint, carpet, make repairs, safety things, and conditional things that are nice to get more money, which they've gotten smarter over the years to do if they can do it, right? Mm-hmm. And these tend to have more TLC that's than desired. The good news is there's less than 2% of these on the market right now. But in my personal opinion, write this down, jot it down, I do believe foreclosures and short sales are going to start to go up next year a lot more than we maybe want. When I say a lot more, we may have 5% of the market is that, not 2%. So it could maybe double, okay?
Yeah, and that's a big number. And you know, it'll be interesting to see how much of the foreclosures that we'll see in the future will be blamed on the high interest rates that everybody thought were going to come down,
right? And
that they were going to be able to refinance and improve their cash flow position.
That's it.
And it never happened. That'll be an interesting
talk. So jot it down.
Yeah.
Now, as we know, delinquencies are increasing each quarter. We keep seeing that. So we have less than 1 minute. And here's the big thing. We're dealing with a very difficult one now that I have been dealing with. I'm going to talk about next week. That has to get a lot of details involved. And the last thing I'm going to share is this. What is a buyer to do if they fall in love with a TLC home? What is the best strategy? And I promise you, you better have a good agent. You better have a good lender. You better have a good title company. You better have a great team because these are the hardest transactions. And guys, I'm telling you, one mistake, one detail left out, it could blow the whole thing up or cost you more money than you ever dreamed. So, hey guys, tune in next week. Go in the drop down on your Frederick Real Estate update on WFMD. And right there, Terry, guess what? You're going to have 424 past programs. Take care. Have a great weekend. Happy buying and selling. We are always here for you, and especially Community Title Network and Connie Phillips at Connie Phillips Insurance here in Frederick. Thank you guys, and take care.